course, the first recommendation that I have is to talk to someone. That is the first, absolute first recommendation. Don't do as I did and slam the door and throw your shoes at the back of the door. You're not accomplishing anything. While it may be some sort of a release for you, there are more productive and less destructive ways of getting that anxiety out of your system. And the very first thing is to talk to somebody. And I mean, not everybody has access. Like I feel very fortunate to have been able to just walk across, the hall to the doctor's office right there where I work at the hospital. I understand that, that's a privilege and not everybody has that, but there are people you can talk to in your life. And if you really honestly don't have someone in your life you can talk to, then seek out help. There are tons of resources out there. All you have to do is Google it and you're going to find a list of resources. And it could be your pastor, it could be just a trusted individual in your life. And maybe you do actually have access to some sort of therapy or counseling at school or at work. I know at work we have free counseling sessions for employees. It's just a benefit of working there. So talk to somebody. Very, very first thing is talk to somebody. My second strategy, and this is something that I learned from the doctor that I was seeing, because I'd never heard of this before, but I call it squashing the ants. And what that means is when you have, and it doesn't have to be anxiety. I think everybody probably has these automatic negative thoughts. So those are the ants, automatic negative thoughts. And I think everybody at some point in their life experienced these automatic negative thoughts. And it's that little negative voice that's whispering in your ear, saying something that is 99% of the time a lie. It's telling you a lie. But if you don't recognize that this is an automatic negative thought and you don't defend yourself against it, then this is what's in your head. And what is in your head, you start to believe. And once you start to believe these lies, it can really be a downward spiral from there. So for me, and this is something that I learned, I think it's CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy. I believe I hope I'm saying it right. Yeah. Okay, good. So yeah, that's, this is an aspect of that cognitive behavioral therapy. And that is recognizing these automatic negative thoughts and then squashing them. So that's what I call it, squashing the ants. So for example, walking into the hospital, especially to nowadays working in a real hot spot of the pandemic. We are currently in our worst surge ever at our facility. And I work at a major hospital in the entire area. So we get the sickest of the sick. They helicopter them in to our hospital. So it's, it can be, who knows what you're walking into, basically. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. Who knows what you're walking into on any given day. So the automatic negative thought that I might encounter walking into work first thing in the morning is, oh my goodness, this is going to be a horrible day. You're going to get so many awful, consults. You're going to have to go see these awful situations. And it's just, you can't do this. You can't do this. This is the automatic negative thought, right? And it's all lies. It's all lies. Of course you can start to believe them and then kind of create your own reality. And then yes, you will. If you believe that automatic negative thought, you will have a terrible day. Okay, let's be honest. You can definitely make a terrible day for yourself. But instead, I recognize that is a lie. And it's like, you know what? I work for an awesome medical center. I work with amazing colleagues and professionals who are capable and knowledgeable. I have chosen this place to, spend the rest of my career because of this, because I trust it. I trust this place and I trust my colleagues. I trust my coworkers. And I know that we are going to work together and do the best possible thing that we can do for every single patient that we see. And it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. And who knows, maybe something, miraculous will even happen, and you'll see something that will actually turn out to be one of the pivotal days in your life. You just don't know whose path you're gonna cross that day and what a difference they're gonna make in your life. So, you turn it around. And all of this is happening in my mind in a split second as I'm walking into the hospital and putting my mask on. So, it's that was a real game changer for me when I learned that. And for me, the automatic negative thoughts are definitely like a top symptom of anxiety. And it's something these automatic negative thoughts would get in my head, especially at night when I'm trying to fall asleep and they're rolling around in my mind and I'm not sleeping. And now that I can recognize them for what they are, it's second nature to me to just dismiss them. So it's a practice. It's something you just have to practice until it just becomes natural for you. And then the third recommendation I have for coping with life, basically in general, is, and I kind of touched on this just a moment ago, surrounding yourself with a community you can trust. Whether your community is your friends, make sure that they're people that you can trust. Whether it's the facility that you work for me, I needed to work at not just a place I was proud of, but a place that I could trust. And I know that they're going to take care of me. And if you have that support structure surrounding you, they can uplift you and inspire you even during your worst days. They can be there for you, something you can fall back on and know that they're going to catch you. So for me, not just my work, not just my institution that I work for that I trust, I belong to like a community of crafters. That's one of my outlets. I craft, and I belong to a community of crafters. And I know that when I interact with these crafters, that they're going to be inspiring me with their creativity, with their positivity. And if, we need a little encouragement, we give that to each other. So that, again, is just another community that you can trust. And that kind of leads me straight into my fourth recommendation, which is find a hobby. Get some sort of creative outlet. For me, it's creative. Not everybody feels like they need to be creative, but for me, a creative outlet is necessary. For other people, it may just be a physical outlet, but a positive physical outlet. Don't throw your shoes at the back of the door. Put your shoes on and go for a run instead. Whatever it is that gives you that cleansing, that mental flow, where really the only thing you're thinking about is maybe the piece of artwork that you're working on, or the step after step after step of your run. That's all that you're thinking about. That is, for me, it's a very big part of coping with life in general, but also coping with things like anxiety and stress, and especially related to the pandemic and, the times that we're living in right now. And my fifth recommendation is to get organized. For me, a lot of my anxiety, I've recognized, gets multiplied like when I'm disorganized. If my thoughts are disorganized, if my schedule is disorganized, if my surroundings are disorganized, it causes anxiety. So get organized. Get yourself a planner, write things down, get your life in order, make sure you know when your bills are due, when your kids have to go to soccer practice, have it all written down, have a plan of attack. When you feel like you have your life organized and you have some control over how your day is going to go, because you, for the most part, know what's coming at you, that can make a huge difference and prevent a lot of anxiety, I have found personally. And I'm almost done with my with my advice. My sixth strategy is, with all this activity that you have in your life, school, after school, work, kids, hobby, with all of the activity that you have in your life, one of my strategies actually for dealing with my chronic pain is alternate activity with rest. Rest is not laziness. Rest is not neglecting your duties. Rest is not weakness. Rest is restorative. And you can be an infinite source of energy, but you have to recharge your batteries. And if you don't, you really literally can run yourself so low that you wind up in the hospital. I mean, that's the way that the mind and the body works together. So make sure you are alternating activity with rest. And, activity could be something that, you're running errands or whatever. And then maybe after you get done running your errands and you get home, take a minute, take a breather, sit down for a minute, maybe pull out your book, maybe pull out your sketchbook, whatever it is that gets your mind to take a break. Just take a minute and rest before you move on to the next bit of activity. And then I think this is my second to last, maybe, piece of advice. My seventh recommendation is meditation. And this ties into the whole rest thing for me. Meditation, I'm terrible at it. I mean, truly terrible. Even I did yoga for a while, that was one of my coping strategies when I was going through a really difficult time personally. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go do some yoga. So I went to the gym and I joined a yoga class. And at the end, they have you supposedly meditate, and I'm supposed to be listening to the instructor's voice and following the directions, feel your toes, feel your ankles, feel your calf, you're just being focused and aware only of your body or whatever. And I would find I'm thinking about my grocery list, what I have to do after I leave this yoga class. Can I go run my errands wearing these yoga clothes? My mind would just be everywhere. So meditation can be different for everybody. I have found meditation is not necessarily sitting, in your yoga class and clearing the mind. That's not maybe possible for everybody. People like me, I find it very, very difficult. My brain just won't stay still that long. So for me, I have found other forms of meditation that include maybe just going outside to a quiet, natural place. For me, it's my backyard, but just going outside and taking some deep breaths, focusing just on the sounds around me, the birds, the kids down the street having fun, just focusing on these sounds, recognizing them for what, oh, there's an airplane, there's a bird, there's the kids having fun. Oh, somebody's getting a delivery down the street, and while you're deep breathing. And for me, I find that hugely restorative because while I'm doing that, I'm not thinking about everything else. So that's just a suggestion if you're like me and you really honestly cannot meditate, you're terrible at meditating. Another way that I meditate is to listen to music. And music, for me, has a very strong effect in that I really can lose myself in the music. So if I'm listening to like one of my favorite albums and closing my eyes and getting lost in the music, I'm not really thinking about everything else. I'm thinking about, man, this music is so good, So if you have something like that you find you can just kind of quiet your mind for a moment, at least like try to do that 15, 30 minutes a day. Try to give yourself that rest, that meditation, that mental break to recharge your batteries. And all of these things, I think, fall into the category of self-care. So for me, all of these recommendations I've just made is self-care. And for me, the most important thing for overcoming anxiety and stress is self-care. And I mean, just doing my stretches in the morning, that's important for my chronic pain condition, but also, you're releasing endorphins and good things into your body and it feels good. And, that is self-care. That is taking care of yourself, setting yourself up for a better day, and a better life. And, I've found, even as hard as it is working on the front lines of the pandemic, that now that I have all of these tools and I've turned them into a routine written down in my planner, it's, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay in spite of everything. I mean, and I'm not just surviving. I feel like sometimes I'm actually thriving, you know? So yeah, I think I think that pretty much sums up all of my recommendations.
Thanks for watching. Hit the like button and comment with your own thoughts and experiences. If you'd like to see more content like this, please subscribe to our channel at Real Life Videos. Let's rehumanize.